And I think we are live. Welcome, everyone. We're in pre-show. I want to give a little bit of time for everyone to let them know that I'm online. I'm a bit late today. I've been waiting on some gear to be delivered this morning, and I had to go through it with the rep because it's stuff I'm going to be taking to the US. So at least I'm on. So let's start with the Corona. Have some of this. Every time I drink this, I think of the coronavirus. I don't know why, but I'm in the name, isn't it? Like every time I hear that, I think of, oh, here we go, I'm drinking coronavirus. So cheers, everyone. Hope you can join me. In a few days, if you're in the US, you'll be able to join me with one of these for real. The nectar of the gods. I've been watching Vikings. I'm so wrapped in that show, I can't stop watching it. And they keep mentioning the gods, and this is like the nectar of the gods for me. So say hi in the chat. I do want to sort of say who's in here before we start the show. So let's go over and switch to the live chat. So who have we got? Basil's here. He was first. Carl was here too. I noticed they were in quite a fair while before we even started the show today. MJ's here. Jamie's also here. I hope the latest rumour about Sony is not true. I'm going to talk about those rumours shortly, Jamie. George said, greetings from New Jersey. Casper said, I want my status back. I've been keeping it real for all the Nikon losers forever on this show. How long will I be on the restriction? I don't know, Casper. You're really going to have to do some sucking up, I think. I'm talking to you, Mr. Osler, he said. I promise I've not been a naughty boy today. Carl saying hello, everyone. Where were we? Let me go back down here. MJ said, get those thumbs up. Yes, it does let people know that I'm live. So if you can, please do give thumbs up, guys. It does make a difference. Pre-gamers, MJ said. Michael says A9 II or the next S or A4. Yeah, I know, it's a hard choice, isn't it? I put out a big video the other day about the A9 and how I thought that was the best wedding and portrait photographer or event camera, I should say, available. And I think for the money, it still is the best camera that's available in that price range, because the money you save over the A9 II, you can get an amazing lens with it too. So it's something that you need to consider. But I still think the A9, look, there is little updates for the A9 II, but they're not drastic updates. So I think if you want to save some money, you're going to get an amazing camera by getting the A9. And like I said, watch that video if you haven't watched it, because I give all the advantages and things like that and why I believe it's the best wedding and event camera ever released, basically. So check that out. Where were we? Jamie said, imagine if David Osa gave it to someone else like me or Casper. Carl said, coronavirus. MJ said, I heard Corona sales have gone down. Well, you never know, they could. I mean, it's the name, isn't it? G'day, Ben, how are you? Altric's here as well. G'day, Altric. Photomix here as well. Leslie said, hi, David, and hello to all. Missed the live show last week, and I don't know what YouTube were doing, but couldn't get on. I had trouble even getting onto the live last week, Leslie. It took me ages. In fact, it came up late. Due to the fact I was having trouble connecting. So I don't know what was going on either with that. Creative Film says, what's up? Jubilee says, careful with that Corona, David. I know I should drink it with a mask on. I was so tempted. You Americans are going to hate me, but I was so tempted this morning to come on, and I have no political real favour for anyone, right? But because I don't get into it at all. But I was so tempted to just come on and go like this. Now, you Americans, you Americans will know what I'm doing. But look, please don't slam me, because I don't really care with anyone who's there. But I just thought that was funny. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. What else have we got? Careful, yeah, with that Corona. Jubilee said, Evans said, where were we? What's up, everyone? Chris said, hello, David. Cool day in Los Angeles, but still a good Corona day. Well, I hope it warms up a little bit, Chris, when we're over there, because it's pretty hot here. I'm probably going to feel it for a while, probably when I get over there. I'll just have to bring some warm clothes. G'day, Gerald. Wanted to thank Gerald for all his work he's done with the tour that when I'm coming to the US. Gerald has done so much organising, guys. Really wanted to thank him. He's been amazing. Personally wanted to thank him again. MJ said, snowy day in Michigan. I'm hoping to see some snow when we go to Yosemite and that, MJ. So I am looking forward to seeing some snow because we don't really get to see it here unless we go right into the mountains. And it's not snow like what you guys get. So I am hoping to see some. Ben said, heard Lyme disease goes well with that coronavirus. Mick's here as well. G'day, Mick. Mark said, hi, David from Oklahoma. Jim said, hey, mate. Today is almost a feel asleep waiting. I almost fell asleep waiting. Oh, is it late for you there, Henry? G'day, Jim. Looking forward to meeting you soon. Nivik said, good afternoon, David. Harry said, hi, all. Segan said, hi, Dave. When are you coming to Instable? Well, I'm not sure. I'm hoping to come to Europe the following year, and I'm not sure what countries that will be yet, but I am hoping to come to Europe the following year, but I'm not sure when at this stage. Billy said, hi, David. George said, greetings from North Carolina. Guys, if you don't want to watch this pre-show, I get people whinging about the length of the show, but all you have to do is check the timeline. If you don't want to watch any of this, skip in the timeline and you can go directly to what you want to watch. Because unlike a lot of people, I actually like to talk to my subscribers, so I enjoy this aspect of it. George said, greetings from North Carolina. Billy's also said hi. Quinton says, hello, David. Photomix says, have some self-respect, Casper. You are embarrassing me. Get off your knees. Oh, I love it. Jim said, laugh out loud. Oh, you're laughing about the paper. I think that's what you're laughing about. Limmer said, laugh out loud. Gerald says, love the tear. I agree with that. Photofine Digital says, hi. Greetings, said Pelosi is going. Let's not get into the I just wanted to do it because I thought it was hilarious. But I'm not going to get into the politics, guys. I just thought that was so funny and I had to do it. It's just my sense of humour. You guys that meet me in America will understand when you meet me because I do have a bit of a crazy sense of humour. What else have we got? Carl said, have some snow. Come the snowflakes. Oh, I love it. Scott said, hello, everyone. Evan said, enough with the politics. Yep, that's right. I only did that for a joke. Creative Film says, do get me started. Let's keep politics out. That's exactly right. I'm not going to talk about politics, but I just couldn't resist because it's like my crazy sense of humour. Now, I just wanted to thank Greg because let me just explain a couple of things. Actually, I'll do it when I start the show because let me start it first and then I'll just, because I wanted to thank Greg for some insurance stuff that he did for me. Let me put on here, it's 8 minutes. Now, this is going to be louder again. I get complaints about this every week, but oh, too bad.
If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over, we can take the roller coaster. And you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide. Water slide.
Welcome, everyone. Just had a little bit of a pre-show. I had a little bit of fun, which I'm not going to go back over because I don't want politics to come into the questions. I didn't mean it. I just had a bit of fun with it. But look, I wanted to thank Greg. I've got a stack of gear that's, well, quite a bit that's been lent to me, actually. I'll show you one of the things. It's beautiful. Let me show you this bag that's just been sent to me. This is a think tank bag, and it's called the Retrospective... I think it's Retrospective Backpack 15L. I'll show this because I'm going to put a video up in the next couple of days to show about what I'm going to pack away. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I adore this backpack. You access it from the back, but I'll give a full review. Like I said, I'll show what I'm taking to the US in a couple of days. But this is not released yet. This is going to be released, I believe, in April. So you can't order this yet. But... boy, this is stunning. I just love the feel of it. When I had a look at a few of the backpacks, and as soon as they showed me this one, I had to get it because I thought this is stunning and it's beautiful. And all the bags I take are Think Tank anyway, like my roller bags and everything are Think Tank, and they last you for years. So I wanted to try more of a smaller Think Tank because I don't want to be lugging around too much gear. I'll have one bag and then Kerry's going to have another bag. But this thing, just wait till you see inside it and stuff. This is absolutely gorgeous. I think this thing is built like a tank. It's got the, the typical zips that are almost indestructible and everything else. But so this is going to be my travel backpack that I'm going to be taking all around the US. But absolutely stunning. But the thing was, because some stuff has been given to me, and obviously I haven't paid for them, it was an issue insuring it, because I think it's about $7,000, the amount of gear that I've been given to take over to the US. And it wasn't going to be insured, and I've tried to insure it through my insurance company, and I couldn't get it insured because I haven't paid for it. And I'd never thought about that before, but because I hadn't paid for it, they wouldn't insure it. So I contacted a friend of mine, Greg, who is an insurance, he owns his own insurance company, and he does multiple different things, which is not only camera insurance, but they do travel insurance and everything else. And he gave me an incredible price and covered me, whereas normally no one would ever cover this. Well, not in Australia anyway. So I wanted to give Greg, he didn't ask me to do this, but I wanted to give Greg a bit of a shout out, because I thought, well, he's given something to me, so I want to give something back. So this is not a paid endorsement at all. I paid for the insurance, but when I say that, he actually kept his cut off it, and I thought, thank you so much, Greg, that's amazing. So it's not free insurance that I got, but he did keep his cut off it. Now, this is only really any good to you if you're Australian, but I do want to give him a shout out, and I'll give a shout out in the next couple of videos, just to say thank you for what he's done, because I thought I was going to have to take this without insurance, and I was paranoid, because if something did happen, I would have been screwed. So let me just show you Greg's site. So this is what it is. It's CJIC, and they're insurance brokers, or he owns this insurance broker company. And Greg, just to explain a little bit about Greg, Greg is really big here in the Sony. He's part of the Melbourne Sony Alpha group, and I think he's one of the founding members of it. Him and Dion tend to run it. So Greg on the left there is a fantastic bloke. He's got every bit of Sony gear you could ever imagine. So he really is a Sony enthusiast. And I've met him over a number of times, and I now classify him as a friend, and he's actually a really great down-to-earth bloke, typical Aussie. Very, very down to earth. But the thing is that he offers multiple things, including even things like church insurance and things like that, which is interesting. I didn't realise that he did so much. But there's also travel insurance, but there is also things like events and photography insurance. And this is why I wanted to bring it up for you guys who are in Australia, because he does photography insurance, and it's things like public and product liability and things like that. So he does cover everything for your photography needs. So if you do need in Australia, because I do get a lot of people asking me who to insure through, so I would thoroughly recommend Greg, because Greg will find the best deal for you. And I will stick that in the link down below. But I did want to personally thank Greg for what he's done. And like I said, it's not a paid endorsement at all, but I do like to give back to people that look after me as well, and he is a personal friend. So if you are after insurance, please support Greg. The trip, I leave on Monday, so it's now getting very, very close to the point where I'm leaving. Funny thing is, I leave here at 1:30 on Monday, and I get into LA 9 a.m. on Monday morning. So I get there before I'd even left, which is quite funny. The itinerary, Ted, is put into the photography videography school. Gerald has put the full itinerary on there as well. Now, the thing I wanted to mention with you guys is there's no money being paid. I'm not being paid to come out to the US or anything. I'm not taking any paid workshops or doing paid work while I'm over there. Everything is free. So I just want to meet up with you guys and give something back to you guys. So it's meet up of friends. So that's all it is. I'm taking a bit of gear over, but that's so I can also shoot with you guys and things like that. But there's certainly no money changing places and things like that. I certainly don't want to get stopped with border protection by saying I'm working, so I'm not. I'm actually just coming over to meet everyone and have a really good tour around of a lot of the US. We're actually starting, if you want to read the itinerary, it's fully listed in the photography videography school. It's one of the main comments that are there. You'll be able to find it. We're starting out, I'm having a week in Santa Monica when we first get there, and we're going to be organising shoots. We're having the first shoot, in fact, because this is what I wanted to shout out, because I may not get another chance before I get there. Let me just open up the thing, because I'll tell you about this first shoot that we've organised. We were having a meetup in LA, because Michael has done something amazing. Let me just bring it up and I'll show you. I'm hoping it's in there. Let me just go to announcements. And let me bring this up. So basically, we will go through the stories, but I won't have another chance to sort of show you any of this stuff. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to have this first meetup. And this first meetup is going to be it's called BurgerIm, I think it is. And it's a brand new restaurant that Michael, one of our subscribers, an amazing guy, Michael, absolutely beautiful guy. He's organised this meetup at his new restaurant, and the address there is it's 605 West 7th Street in Los Angeles, and we're going to be doing that on February the 13th. 4 p.m. on, and we're going to organise some shoots and things like that you can come and join us. There's also going to be a Sony rep there, or reps from Sony, and also Samy's camera store is going to be there as well. So please join us on the 13th. There's 2 days before that where I'm just trying to get over the jet lag and all that sort of stuff with Kerry. So if you can, that first 2 days we're just going to basically do whatever just to sort of acclimatise and get used to the time zone. So the first meetup with all of you guys, where we can also talk about other things that we're going to be doing, is at the BurgerIm, 605 West 7th Street, Los Angeles, on the 13th from 4 p.m. But if you wanted to check the whole timeline, this is in the photography videography school. Let me just drag that down. This link is always down below as well, so if you did want to follow us, you can check that out from there. If you wanted to have a look at the whole thing, it's all written inside here. We're going to be going to Vegas from February the 23rd to the 27th, where we're doing WPPI, and the shoot's organised there. I'm joining Photomir. Let us know, Ike, have you finished that? Have you finalised that course yet? If not, you probably should advertise it in our group, Ike, if you haven't filled it. So I'll be also joining Ike there for one of his shoots that he's organised. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. I'm going to help him teach on the day. Obviously no money is being involved, but I'm just helping teach people that are there. So that'll be fun. And then, so we're in Vegas for that time, and we'll be organising different shoots. Then we're going over and doing the Grand Canyon and the Horseshoe Bend, Antelope Canyon, Monument Valley, things like that. Then we're going to Yosemite, and then we're going to be in San Francisco as well. And we're going to organise, one of our amazing subscribers has organised us to get a tram car that is a vintage one or something, and he's going to take us around San Francisco, and we're also going to go to Alcatraz. Now, you're welcome to come to any of these things and join us, guys. That's the whole reason why we're coming out. If you want to come on the road trip, you're welcome, more than welcome to come. Like I said, there's no costs involved. We're just doing it all for like mates traveling around. So have a look at that anyway if you want to check out the itinerary, and then you can put some comments into, if you have any comments, all in the photography videography skills. So that's about all from that side. So let me just check the questions before we start to go through the news stories again, just to see where we're all up to. Where were we? I'll just start from down here somewhere. David said hi too. Jeezy said hi. Steve also said greetings. Casper said, careful with that corona, you might get quarantined. I thought you were in the US now. No, I leave on Monday, Jeezy. I'm there then for 4.5 weeks. Please, arguing about gear and cameras is almost as bad as politics. Almost. I love it. MJ said, laugh out loud. Carl says, arguing is easy over the internet. Built like a tank, it's made of metal. The thing is, though, and I've never ever got Think Tank stuff for free. I've got 4 of their roller cases, and I have to say that they have a lifetime guarantee, but I've never ever had one break down. I've never had a zip fail, and I put that much stuff into those Think Tank bags and they bulge. And that's why I say they are built like tanks. They are incredibly strong in how they build things. But they do have a lifetime guarantee on them. So if you did have an issue, they would be replaced. But I've got 3 roller bags. I've got the big ones. I've got the airport rolling bags and things like that I carry all my gear around. And I've had them for years and not one has ever let me down. And I'm not sponsored by them. I've paid for all of them apart from that bag. What else have we got? I boiled it first. Ted said, "Hi David, will you post your year centenary?" Yes, I've just showed you about that. Just swinging by, have a great show, everything, man. Thanks so much, mate. Pity you can't meet us up where we're over in the US. Gerald said, yes, we will update also other shoots as we get closer. Yeah, we will do some call outs because we'll just say when we're there, if you'd like to meet us this night or whatever, come along. So we will be doing shoots like that. Sounds like an awesome time you guys have planned in LA. Photomix says, like you guys, David is from Australia. He flew all this way to come and see us. At least you could do is drive a few miles to say what's up to David in Vegas or LA. Well, I'm hoping that's true. I really am looking forward to meeting people. And it's probably the only chance that I'm going to get to the US for the next few years. Like I said, the next trip for me will be Europe. So I may not get back there for a reasonable amount of time. So if you do want to meet up, this could be the only chance you get for a fair while. Would love to meet up, but it's a bit too far from my drive from New York City. Yeah, that certainly is. I love it. Photomix says, I haven't posted my shoot in the group yet, David, but I'm excited because I have secured the model in the thumbnail. She's awesome. That's fantastic, Ike. Ike, I was going to ask too, can Kerry come? Because she's with me and she usually sort of goes everywhere I go. Gerald said, and Photomiac, I will also have 2 amateur models, Brooke and Jade, coming to New York City to Vegas for shoots February 21st. Please join the photo. Miak with David, and also join me and Langston. Yeah, Gerald and Langston are also organising a shoot as well in one of the hotels there. So if you wanted to do that, that would be also amazing. And that's also listed in the photography videography school as well. Casper said, I want to come to Australia. It's amazing out here, Casper. We'd love to see you. MJ said, wish I could be there. Have fun. All right, so let's go, guys. We're in Europe. Well, I'm probably going to go to a few different places, Pop. So, yeah, if I'm going to go to Europe, I'd like to go again to Italy and, say, France, etc. I'm not sure, but, yeah, it'll be a few spots, I would think, to do some meetups. All right, so let me bring up the first story. So let's put down in here. What time are we? 22. We'll come back to Q&A as we go along. 54. I've got to turn the air conditioner on, too. It's getting absolutely boiling in here. All right, so let's go. Let me just close that. Let me just mark this so I know where we are. All right, so we're going to go from the first story, and it is going to be this, because this is interesting. I'm thinking, oh no, don't tell me again. We're going to be waiting. Let me just move this over. And I've got to come back out and back in. The latest rumours from Sony Alpha this morning worry me a little bit because I was hoping that we were going to get an announcement of the A7 IV while I was over in the US, but it doesn't look like that now looking at this rumour. Because looking at this rumour, they're now saying that no new E-mount camera is announced in February, and the A7S III announcement ahead of IDC show in August, September. Oh, every time I get excited about thinking something's going to come out, it just gets pushed further and further away. So what are they saying? Because I haven't even read this. All I saw was that this heading this morning. So let me just see what they're saying. Now, I hope this rumor is wrong. I got this source from a single trusted source who was rarely wrong in the past. But I hope this is one of those rare occasions where I might be wrong. So they're saying no E-mount camera will be announced in February ahead of the CP Plus show. Now, the CP Plus, that's the end of March, end of Feb, isn't it? Or is it? When's CP Plus? Let me just check. CP Plus. 27th of the 2nd. So that's the end of February. Okay, so hopefully there may be one there, because I'll tell you what I was thinking. So they're saying CP Plus is the 27th of the 2nd, 2020. So it's the end of Feb. So we may, because that's why I thought the A7 IV was going to be announced. So we may see the A7 IV announced at the end of Feb. Because in this rumour, though, they're saying we're not going to see one, a camera announcement in February, but then they're saying that ahead of the CP Plus show. So we might get it perhaps at CP Plus, which is the end of Feb, because CP Plus is a massive trade show. That's a massive trade show in Japan. So that would be a great place to release the A7 IV. The reason why I'm saying this is because the A7 IV I still think is going to come out before the A7S. I would have thought that the A7S should have been released at NAB. Someone in the chat could mention when NAB is. I'm not sure when NAB is, but because NAB is video-centric, it makes sense to me that they would announce the A7S III at NAB, and then there's no real reason why they can't release the A7 IV at that CP Plus, which is at the end of Feb. I mean, I was in fact hoping it could have even been WPPI, but they're the same time, so it could be around about that same time. Remember, I believe the release or announcement of the Fuji X-T4, they've said it's going to be very, very soon. But if that's true, and it's going to start to get out to September again and maybe delayed longer, that's not a good announcement from Sony, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed if that is the case. But they're just saying there's rumours about this. No info on the A7 IV launch update timing, but I guess the chances stay high that we will see it at Photokina. But let's hope I am wrong and we'll get a new E-mount camera at CP Plus. So when's Photokina? File, new window. Photokina 2020. So Photokina is the 27th of May. Wow. So that's interesting, isn't it? So they're saying there that we may not get the A7 IV until the end of May. Now that would be an announcement, and then you'd have to wait probably 4 weeks for that. So then you're starting to get into June, July. It's interesting. Yeah, so it's not, if you're looking at these rumours now, it's not very exciting news, to be honest. For Sony, if these are true, unless they come out of the blue and just release something out of the blue. But like I said, I was hoping to have an A7 IV announced at CP Plus, but it doesn't look like that. And they're saying the A7S, no announcement ahead of the IBC show in August, September. So if that's announced in August, September, it might be November, December before we get that camera. So we're still nearly 12 months away. Yeah, that's not good, is it? I don't like that at all. They're saying for sure we are getting soon a compact camera model or the RX. I mean, anyway, that's a bit disappointing, to be completely honest. What else have we got? So anyway, that's that. I'm a bit I'm a bit shattered. I better have another drink. Oh. So let me know. Look, guys, I would love to know in the chat, what do you think about this? We've got Canon probably announcing shortly some major updates in their Canon EOS R line. We've had amazing firmware updates on the Nikon line just recently. We've also got news that the Fuji are going to announce the X-T4. I think it was the end of January or something, or the end of Feb, I think it was coming out. So they're probably going to announce that late this month. And from what I believe, the specs on that camera are going to be incredible. Thanks, Ike. Thank you for that. So the interesting thing is that I'm a little bit worried. I don't understand and this is why I'd love your opinion about it. If it could be that these are just rumors and Sony are going to drop them early, but are you a little bit worried about that Sony are taking so long, or do you think that's the best thing to do is to wait and then make sure these releases are amazing? But the only thing, and they are right, you're right, they are only rumors, so it's probably true. But they often do tend to have something around that time, around the announcement. So they usually are fairly close to announcement times. They may get the specs and all that sort of thing wrong, but they do often get announcements sort of roughly about that time. But it is a bit of a worry if that's the case. And I'm only saying that it's a worry in the fact that some people may decide I've had enough of waiting and they do switch over. Now, if you're into stills, there's no reason at all to switch. And this is why I'm saying to you, there's no reason at all to switch to anything at this stage, because if you're in the Sony whole Sony world, there's nothing really better out there for stills than what we're getting on the Sony side. And I know I sort of harp on this already. It's just that Sony is falling behind if you look at video, the video side of things. So I do believe that videographers will only wait so long before they decide I've had enough. And this is what happened. Remember, this is what happened when Canon wasn't releasing anything. And eventually everyone said, I've had enough and I'm switching to Sony. Well, the same thing could happen. They could switch back to people like Panasonic, to Canon, if that announcement that they make is true. The EOS, the latest EOS, they're saying that is going to be 8K. I mean, who knows what it's going to have. But if these cameras do eventuate, people may decide, well, I've just had enough. So Sony could lose some market share, and I don't think that's good. Now, I'm not going to switch. I don't believe ever that I'm going to switch. I wouldn't switch. But it might be that I get to the stage where I think I may buy another camera that may tide me over for the video side of things. Like if that ESR was incredible with video and it had decent autofocus and Sony weren't releasing one, it might be that I bought a Canon just for that ability to shoot 4K 60. Like everyone else, I can only wait so long, and that's the thing that we have to sort of understand there. I'm not really now in too much of a hurry because, like everything, I've only got another, 2 or 3 months and then my waiting season dies again because we start to get into winter again. So I no matter what was released, probably now for me, I probably would wait a little bit and hopefully the cameras would come down in that timeline, and I'd probably jump in now later this year. Even if they brought out a 4K 60 camera, I probably would hold off now. The problem is here in Australia, you pay a massive tax right at the beginning. Like the A9 at the moment is $7,000 here. So I probably would hold out. When I bought the A9, I paid $7,000, and then 12 months later it had dropped considerably. So I probably will wait a little bit, and hopefully that will come down before my next wedding season starts later this year. I would have wanted one now for the wedding season that I'm already in, and that's the sort of timeline I'd sort of wanted to switch over. So for me now, it doesn't really matter so much. But I'm just thinking generally, some people may have said that they, have had enough. And in the US, for instance, when your wedding season starts in another month or two, if Canon dropped something amazing, or if the XT3 was incredible, or XT4, I mean, Sony may lose some people. So it's interesting, but I'd love to have a discussion about that. So let me just go over to the chat and just see what some people are saying. TC Production says, hi David, nice to meet you again. You too, mates. Go with the camera said A7 IV modelled after the A7R4 and A9 II would be lackluster and highly disappointing. Well, you don't know, Guy with the camera, because they may release an unbelievable camera like they did when the first A7 III was released. And that's still a great camera. It's just not so fantastic now against the other cameras in the video department. But stills-wise, the A7 III is still amazing. So if they did bring out a camera that was as good again, and Sony may do that. But the other thing is Sony may be holding off for some incredible things that we don't know about yet. They may be thinking about global shutters and things like that, that when they bring them out, everyone's going to say, oh, thank God I waited. People may switch and then all of a sudden Sony bring out something that's unbelievable, and then they're going to say, oh, I shouldn't have switched. So it's very hard sometimes to know what to do, because that could be the case. We don't know what Sony's going to produce. Mark said, I think Sony is using the virus as why they are delaying the A7S 3. I didn't realise the virus had been going on since 2015. I didn't realise that either. I thought it had only just started. Ike said, my wife Kerry can come. Yeah, thanks, Ike. Mark said, let's not get ahead of ourselves. These are rumours. Yep, very true, Mark. Jim said, we're just on that story. Carl said, just to have to struggle through 2020 with the A9. I love that statement. I love that, Carl. So Carl has to struggle through 2020 with the A9 II and the A7 R4. I love it. You must be really struggling, Carl. Gerald said, in my humble opinion, Canon, Fuji and Nikon new releases could force Sony to move on these releases. Maybe Sony are holding back. And the other thing you've got to understand too is, with the A7 III, Sony Alpha Rumors, I don't think picked that. That came out with only a week or two's notice on Sony Alpha. So it's still possible that Sony could do that. Now, that's usually picked up when they announce the camera numbers, and that's when Sony Alpha often pick up the rumor is true because they see the camera numbers have been registered. So it still could happen, but that's just what the latest rumors are saying. Maybe Sony are holding back for their global shutter. You never know. That could be the case. Sorry I'm late. What did I do tonight? Nothing yet. If I was Nikon, I would think nothing of it. Business as usual. But for Sony, this is completely different from what they are used to. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Jim said, Gerald agreed, global shutter and maybe revamp of their menu system. Yeah, that's something that certainly could still be improved, exactly. Evan said, could be the Canon R5 rumours have scared Sony. Maybe. I mean, you don't know. TC Production says, I would like you to include Fujifilm. What's that in, TC? Photomix said, Love it, like Jose, I'm sitting on to my next release. I want to release it on Monday. You're talking about your videos, yep. Jose said, please make sure you feature Gerald in your videos. I certainly will be. He has done so much in his career, so make sure you get a special one-on-one feature. Well, I'm sure he'll be a part of it because he'll be assisting in a lot of the stuff I do. Ronald said, Sony's spy at Canon is unable to provide them with the details on their new camera. Guy with the camera said, XT4 will be a sleeper IBIS screen, big battery. Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what they put in that camera. I'm really interested to see what they do with it, actually. Photomix said, the EOS R5 has Sony... What's that word? Shuketh? I don't know what it is. They are going back to the drawing board like Google did when Apple dropped the iPhone. Laugh out loud. You're just stirring, Ike, but you never know. Evan said, I think so. Jim said, all please help support with thumbs up. Thank you, Jim. Jose said, David drinking that Corona. I know, I am drinking that coronavirus. I've got a face mask. I said to Kerry, if anyone's next to me sniffing and doing that stuff, the mask's going straight on. Oh, I love it. Sony spy at cam. Oh, I read that one. I read that. I read that one. Guy with the camera said, next week, the Canon R5 going to be exciting. Canon just came out with a tiny 24 to 105 macro. Looks fantastic for a kit lens. Canon's lenses are unbelievable. Really are incredible. And look, I have to give them that from the lens side of things. They really are beautiful. Amazing. Elliot said, don't worry at all. Rest assured we will get the A7S III in our next life in 2085. I love it. Andrew said, really just want 4K 60 in full frame with good AF. I'm the same, Andrew. I'm so hanging out for that. No mirrorless camera currently does that, so there is no reason to switch yet. Camera Conspiracies, Casey has a go at me because I mention it every show. I agree, Jose. Gerald probably has some cool stories. Jose just smiled, and that's it. Hello, David. How are you, mate? All right, so let's continue. Basil said, man, he shakes up that beer every time he grabs. It's going to be flat. No, it's not. It stays pretty good. I don't care if it goes flat. I'll still drink it. All right, next story. Here we go. 39. 40. All right, so let's look at this. Sony Alpha have also said that the roadmap will be affected by the coronavirus. And that's probably going to be an issue for everyone, I would think. But there's a couple of really interesting things because I just also read that in the Sony Alpha rumors, they put a thing saying that they believe that the sensors, let me just see if I can bring that up actually, new window. Because they also said that it was going to affect the sensors. Where did I read that? Must be here somewhere. It's probably on this page. Because you think about it, nearly all of them, a lot of the stuff that they do are actually done in Japan. This bit here. So it's saying over here that Sony says this virus outbreak in China could affect image sensor and electronic business enormously. And I'm wondering now whether that is going to now hold back what's happening with the A7 IV and the A7S III. It could be, and someone mentioned that just before. And there's a whole article about this in there as well. I'll stick this in the down below as well, so you can have a read of this as well. But they're saying it will certainly affect smartphone image sensors and things like that as well. But anything that's made in anything that's made in China is going to have an issue because they're closing a lot of factories. I know there's a lot of people that I've dealt with because I get stuff from a lot of Chinese manufacturers. A lot of them aren't going to work any longer, so they're actually being told to stay home. I don't even know if we realise probably how bad it is over there because, we're not allowed to basically see everything that goes on there, but it may be a lot worse than what we believe it is. So if that's the case, I noticed this morning in our newspapers they were saying that a lot of shops here are going to run out of stock in the next month or so because it sort of takes a month or whatever to purchase it and then get it over. And they're saying in another month or so that we're going to have real issues with stuff being brought in from China. So, it's probably not only Sony that's going to be affected by this. It's probably going to be that many manufacturers that you don't realise because you'll be amazed at the number of items that are actually made in Sony. Even some things that are made in Japan, parts of them may be produced in China and then sent over to Japan. You don't know what sort of goes on in that regard. But, so it looks like this will probably end up affecting everyone, I would think, though. It's probably not just going to affect Sony. It'll probably affect Canon. It'll probably affect Nikon. It'll probably affect them all. But they are saying now that it's going to affect the Sony roadmap. So anything that they're now saying that it may be delayed over a period of time. And depending on how long this goes, it might be delayed for months. We don't know how far this is going to go. I mean, it's only just starting at this stage, and they were talking about 6 months at least to produce an injection or whatever it's called to get rid of this illness. So it could be months away, and then after that it might take months for them to get back up and running again. So it could really have a big impact on getting anything new. It'll affect Apple, no doubt, because a hell of a lot of Apple products are made in China. So, I don't think it's just going to be Sony that's going to be hit here. So I don't think Sony's got to worry about it on their own. I think every manufacturer out there of almost everything is going to be hit with this. So I think there's going to be some massive changes going on or delays that are going on in roadmaps coming up where we thought we were going to get something. In fact, in the end, you might see prices go up due to the fact of availability. So that's another issue as well. You might find that the discounting will cease to happen in the coming months due to this, this shortfall of what's going to come out, because we don't know how much stuff we're going to get out of there. So it looks like it could be pretty bad. I'm going to keep going anyway, because then we'll come back to some chat. So let's go to the next story down here. 44, 30. So the next story that I wanted to talk to you about was this. And this is quite exciting, particularly if you like the Sigma lenses. They're saying Sigma press conference on the 27th, February the 27th, is going to be the 70-200 f.2 announced. So they're going to announce it then, and we'll probably have to wait, another month if you wanted to purchase it after that. So it looks like the 70-200 is imminent. And I can't wait to see that. Now, from all reports, Gerald has one here, so I'm sure I'll get to play with it while I'm in the US as well. Every report I've seen of the 24-70 Sigma lens, everything I've seen about that lens is stellar. Unbelievable, in fact. It's probably the best of its class in dealing with image quality overall. And we know the build quality and autofocus and everything now, and the Sigma lens is really, really good. So I think this will be a fantastic lens. This is not one that I will buy, and I'm more interested in the Tamron. But if you did want that traditional 70-200 lens, the 2.8, and you don't worry about the weight, I mean, if you're carrying a G Master, for instance, the 70-200, you're used to that anyway. This is going to be an amazing release. So, I mean, how exciting is this, though, that you're going to have the 24-70, you've got the 16-35, you've got the 70-200. So, like I keep saying, we are that blessed now in the Sony world for lenses that we can use. We've got so much choice. If you want to have the ultimate ergonomics, you've got the GM line. I mean, you still can't beat the GM lenses if you're dealing with the linear focus. I'm sure there'll be an update eventually of the 70-200 GM as well. But the difference between, say, like the Sigma, and the Sonys, it's just things like that come into play. It's just the ergonomics and aperture rings and things like that Sony put into their lenses that mean so much, like the 135, for instance, is why I love that lens so much in the Sony, as against the Sigma 135, which doesn't have the focus hole buttons and the D-clicked aperture ring, the linear motors for focusing. But if you want to save some money and you want outstanding lens quality, you can't go past the Sigmas. I mean, the Tamrons also are incredible. So we really are blessed. A lot of the time now, really, it comes down to what you want, what you're prepared to carry in weight, how much you want to pay. If you don't want to pay the money that they're asking for the G Master, you certainly now have amazing ranges of lenses that you can stick onto your camera and save money and still have incredible quality. I mean, incredible quality. So the days of having third-party glass where it wasn't very good are gone. So anyway, it looks like we're going to get that 70-200 now announced at the end of February, and you'll probably find that another month later that will come out, and that you'll be able to pre-order it straight away. I would expect if you were in the line for this, it might be worthwhile to pre-order it, because I would think that it may be fairly hard to get. So that's that one, and I'll come back to questions, guys, at the end. Next one is 47. 47. Actually, it's 50. It's 48. 48.05. All right, so next story is this. Tamron. So it looks now like the 70-180 Tamron lens is going to be, the pricing is going to be announced at the CP Plus show. So we should know the end of February. I was really hoping to have this by the end of, I could have taken to the US, but we just couldn't get one in time. I have got the 20mm. I got the 20mm today. I'm going to do an unboxing of that after this, actually. So I'm going to unbox it and have a look at it with you guys, but not live. I'm going to record it. So I am going to do the unboxing after this and just test it and things like that. Have a quick go of it and talk about how it looks. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. So I have got the 20mm. Which I'm going to take to the US, and I'm looking forward to that, to sticking it on the gimbal, and it's nice and wide, so it should be great for all the landscape stuff that I'm going to be doing. But I am excited about the 70-180. Now I'll explain why I would go over this than the Sigma. The reason for me is weight. I just don't want to carry the really heavy lenses all the time. But having said that, I love the 135. But when I'm doing weddings and things like that, Kerry is usually the one that uses the 70-200 f4, but she loves that lens. But It is heavy for her, and I think that the 70 to 180 is just going to fit her needs perfectly. The beautiful thing about this is too, and this is why I adore this line of lenses so much, it's all the 67mm width for your filters. So all I have to do is buy one set of filters, and like I said to you all before, I now recommend the Freewell ones. I've got the Peter McKinnon ones as well, but I do recommend the Freewell ones. Well, you only need one set of these, and you can use them on all of your lenses. That is fantastic because they're all 67mm, which is brilliant. Now, I don't care about losing the 20mm. I'm happy with that because yes, there's things that you have to give, and I understand that. If you need the 200, well, obviously this lens is not for you. But for me personally, it's not going to matter. I very rarely shoot at 200 anyway. It's always sort of coming in between. So I think I will probably sell my 70 to 200 f4, and I'll get this when it's released. I want to test it first, though, and I will get a test version of this. Tamron always look after me, Tamron Australia, so I'll be testing this as soon as it's announced or released. It might have to be, obviously, when I get back from the US now. But I was hoping to have one before I go, but I just can't get it. But I have got the 20mm, so I will be able to review that for you in the coming days while I'm in the US, because I will still post while I'm in there whenever I can get some Wi-Fi and stuff. So I'm really excited about this. I'm not worried about the 20mm. If you are, obviously, then the Sigma would be the one to get. I'm sure that the quality of this is going to be outstanding. I love my 28 to 75. I adore the quality of that lens, so if it gives me the same quality and same color and contrast, I'll be that happy, and I'm sure it will be. Focusing, I've found, on all the Tamron lenses is amazing. I'm taking the 17 to 28 and the 28 to 75 to the US. So I love those lenses, and I'm sure that I'm going to love the 70 to 180. And that will give me that trinity of Tamron lenses. It's light, great for travel, and things like that. So that's what means more for me. And like I said, everyone's different in what they want. Like I said, if you do need the 200, well, then obviously you'd be better to go for the Sigma. And I'm not sponsored by Tamron, and I tell Tamron that I'm going to always tell the truth on how things are. So like I said to you, if you need the extra 20mm, the Tamron's not going to be any good for you. But if you're like me and you want to travel a little bit lighter and have that full range, I think it's going to be a great lens. So anyway, that's coming out. I believe we're going to get the pricing of that the end of Feb. I think it's going to be probably around that $1,100, $1,200 mark, I would think, which is very, very reasonable for a lens like that. Next story. And I'll come back to all of the questions that we can go over Q&A at the end. 5240. So the last couple of stories, well, this is all related to each other. I just wanted to show this because this graph is interesting because it's showing the decline of Sony cameras sales over the years, and this is completely to be expected. It's not all doom and gloom, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute in another slide, but you can see the difference of overall sales, say from between 2010 down to 2019. But most of these sales that are dropped are your point and shoot cameras, and that's where the big difference has happened sort of over here when you're reading this. And so it's not that bad, and I think if you look at overall cost that money that Sony's making, they're probably a lot better off because they're now making much more money on the high-end side of things with the full frame cameras and the lenses that they're actually producing and the sensors. So overall, this looks a lot worse than what it is. I mean, it's not good if you look at the overall figure, but you've got to understand that mobile phones have had a massive impact on this section over here because point and shoots have just died. I mean, I haven't seen anyone with a point and shoot for a couple of years. I mean, all I ever see now is people using their mobile phones. If they're not using digital SLRs or your smaller like the Sony a6-400 or Fuji cameras, etc., they tend to be using their mobile phone. So this does not surprise me one little bit. But the sales figures aren't good if you compare it to back here. But the money Sony making is still much better than what this is sort of showing. And what I wanted to show you here, this is sort of related to this because they just released the Q3 financial report. And it says it's good results, actually. Apart from the forecasts have been revised down 2%, because they expect a drop in camera sales. So it's still not amazing, but it's not as bad as what those figures were sort of showing. But you've got to look at the whole market overall, and I'll leave these down below if you want to have a look at them. But you've got to look at the whole market overall. I think Sony overall are doing really quite well, but it's certainly tough times for everyone at the moment. And like I said, now with what's happening in China, we don't know what's going to happen with camera sales. So, it could be interesting over the coming months. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but to be revised down 2% without them releasing anything. I mean, if Sony released something, you would expect the sales to really take a jump up. I mean, Canon did it because they had those specials on the EOS R. Nikon did it with the new Nikon that they just announced, the Z5, I think it is. So they got a lot of sales because of that. So if Sony did announce something new, obviously their sales will jump up again. So we're in for interesting times anyway. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you so much, Dwayne. I was just talking about you before, Dwayne, how you're taking us out on the tram. Can't wait. Dwayne's the amazing person that's taking us out when we get to San Francisco. So he gave me a $4.99 donation. Thank you so much, mate. I love that little animation. I love it. Keep it up. Thank you so much, buddy. So let's go to Q&A and have a bit of a chat. Let me put down what time Q&A is here. 56. 10. So where were we? Around here, I think. Yeah, it was around here somewhere. I'll try and find where we were. Prashant said the 24105 will be inexpensive, made in Taiwan. What's that for? Which one's that? The Sony one you're talking about there? Brad said, howdy mate, sorry I'm late. We'll watch the replay for the earlier stuff. No worries. Well, at least you're still here. Barry here. Well, g'day, Barry. Basil said, did something happen to the feed? Why, did it disappear? Just this one lens, inexpensive lens. Oh, he's talking to someone else, I think. Bill said the Sony A7S III will be delivered with a flying car. I love it. You guys crack me up. Oh, that's a classic. I love that one, Bill. So what you're saying is that the Sony A7S III will be released with the Jetsons. Oh, I love it. That's a classic. Oh, I love you guys. Seriously. This is why I love reading out the comments. It just cracks me up. George said, in the new globalized world economy, when China sneezes, Sony catches a cold. Now we have to factor a company's supply chain into our camera buying decisions. I know we do. We certainly do, George. It's bad, isn't it? We're also reliant on China. I mean, Australia is more reliant on China than anyone, trust me. We are that reliant on them. It's terrible in a way. Carl said, any camera hardware will have to be sterilised before use. Oh, I love it. For the issue that China is dealing with, I think we can wait for a few more months. Exactly, we can. It must be terrible, awful over there. Yes, but Canon is going after the low-hanging fruit now, and Sony should be concerned. The RP24-105 plus 35 1.8 is the least expensive full-frame mirrorless entry system with quality lenses. Do you guys really believe Canon is about to announce an 8K camera? I don't. I think if they do it, it's going to be like the Panasonic system, was it? Or I can't remember. Might have been Nikon's version, which is JPEG motion. It's not going to be 8K footage. I doubt it very much. But you've got to remember, if Canon can bring out a 4K 60 EOS R with autofocus, it's going to cripple the industry. If Sony don't answer that, that will cripple the industry for videographers. I'm not saying it'll cripple Sony, but it will cripple everyone in the video department because there'll be nothing out there that's full frame that has autofocus for 4K 60. So it is a worry for Sony if Canon do drop that at 4K 60. And if it's 4K 120, Brad said this outbreak will likely affect trade shows as well. Yeah, probably will, especially NAB show in April if the travel restrictions continue. And that's exactly right, Brad. Who even knows what's going to happen to the Olympics? I mean, that's another thing. What's that, July? I can't see the Olympics going ahead if this virus takes off. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. President said, with camera least expensive is not equal to the most value overall. Gerald said, USA will suffer. We get the majority of imported goods. So do we, Gerald. We get that much stuff from China, including our universities. The universities here are panicking because there's 200,000 students. That might not seem like a lot to you guys in America, but for Australia, that's a lot of money. There's 200,000 students from China can't come into our universities, and they are absolutely crapping themselves because they lose all that money. The virus will slow down world trade in every aspect. Yep, I think you're right, Leslie. Mick said, looks like camera conspiracies enjoyed the Sigma 16 1.4 on APS-C camera, waiting for him to add the extra on that last video. Yeah, well, that's what I'm using now. That is my favorite combo for Sony on the APS-C. I'm using the A6400 and the Sigma 16mm. I adore that setup. It's fantastic. I'm going to try it with the Tamron when I'm away, though, just to see how that goes, because it's 20mm. It's a little bit wider, the 2.8. So I'm going to try the A6400 with the 20mm Tamron lens on a gimbal, so it's nice and light and a lovely wide-angle lens. So I'll let you know how it goes. But I adore that. And for the price, the Sigma 16mm is amazing. It's a great lens. It's a great combo. Games and guitars 8K is going to be a time-lapse video. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. And then it's not really a big deal, is it? Thumbs up, please. Thank you so much. We got 9 thumbs down. I love it. It's probably after tearing up that paper. Where are we? I want to skip the heavy as a brick 70 to 200 and get the Tamron 70 to 180. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do, George. If you want something that's lightweight, that's the way to go, isn't it? I mean, it just depends on whether you would like to have the 200mm. So if like I said, the extra 20mm is important to you, that you have to go for the Sigma or the G Master version of that lens. If that doesn't matter to you and you want to travel light, that the Tamron is the way to go, and have the filters all standard at 67. The beauty is for me that, you know, I can then use this. Everything, I love 67mm because everything is that 67mm. The GM24 is 67mm. So I'm using the same ND filters for all that I do in video. And I also like to use them for flash. I'm starting to move a little bit away from TTL. And the reason, I'll explain the reason why I'm doing that is because I like to use the smaller flashes like my Profoto B10. And also if you're using something like an AD200, if you use ND filters, you get much more power from your flash than if you're using TTL. Remember, if you're using TTL, you lose something like, I can't remember, it might be 4 stops of light. I'm not sure, it's a lot. But if you use TTL, you know, for high shutter speed work, your flash strobes instead of giving off that one continuous burst. So you lose an incredible amount of power. So one way of getting over that is to use ND filters on your flash exposures if you're trying to overpower the sun. And I find now I do that more and more, and I love the results because I'm getting far more control from my lights. You're getting much more of being able to overpower the sun due to the fact that you're controlling the exposure that's coming in through your lens. So to have the ability to use 67mm all the time through all of those lenses is so important for me, and that's why I'm so particularly interested in the 70 to 180 as well, because it keeps that 67mm filter thread the whole way through. Where else are we? Guy with the camera said, going to pre-order the Tamron and deal with the yelling wife later. I love it. Just do what I do. Walk in the front door and straight out the back. Present said, Sony has the exact same combo, which is a little expensive but more valuable. Oh, you were talking about the camera and the lens story, yeah. Said you get what you pay for. Go with the camera says you don't have an inexpensive 24 to 105, only the 28 to 70. The focal length not even comparable. Thanks for the thumbs up too, guys. I do appreciate that. Sony 24 to 105 is a great lens for the price. Yeah, and it's also a great lens. That is a really sharp lens. I know it's only an f4, but it is a super sharp lens and great for travel. Leslie said, have a great trip, David, and a safe journey. I have to go. Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you so much for saying that. Evan said, still waiting to get my Tamron 20mm 2.8. Yeah, I just got mine today. I'm going to do an unboxing probably after this. Sony has constant f4. Go with the camera, so the price difference makes sense, but I agree Canon is doing good innovation when it comes to their lenses, but not on their bodies. Dwayne said, can't wait to see you guys in the city. I got the A7 IV back and bought the A9 today. Wow. Congratulations. The 105 Sigma is my new favorite lens. I love that lens. That is amazing. It really is. Congratulations. And you will adore that combination. When I shot with the 105, I was blown away with that lens. It was stunning. Lord C says, getting the 70 to 180, selling my 70 to 200 2.8 GM, save some weight. Yep. And I can understand that. It makes a massive difference carrying around the lighter stuff. The RF 20 to 105 is superb and much less expensive street price. Got mine at $7.99 with the sales. I eventually dropped the Canon system, but still. Beer, you like beer, give a thumbs up. I love it. That's funny. The stream just got glitched. Yeah, someone said that before. It's had a couple of glitches. Dwayne said, PM the details to David or me when we can out to our timeline to San Francisco. I think I put it in there, Gerald. I actually stuck it in. I think I stuck it on that timeline, or I did message it to you. Cable car, yeah. Happy to see crappy point and shoot and digital SLRs are gone. I now have the Sony RX100 Mark IV, which can do much more than any smartphone or cheap point and shoots. Yep. Freeze froze. I had to reload. Yeah, I wonder why. Dwayne said it's a cable car. Hope you will see my other questions about sending the A7. Oh, I thought you said you had both. Let me just see what you said there, Dwayne. I thought you said you had both. I sent my A7R4 back and bought the A9 II today. Oh, okay. The 105 Sigma is my new favourite lens. Well, if you don't need the resolution, Dwayne, I can completely understand why you've done it. Only you know how you shoot. And that's the thing that I have to say to people, that everyone shoots differently. For instance, I haven't got a high-resolution camera. But because the way that I normally shoot, I don't really need it. So I'm happy with the A9 and the A7 III. It doesn't mean I'll never get one, but I would never give up my A9 for any camera that was out there. So if it was me and I had a choice of only having the A7R4 or the A9 or the A9 II, I'd get the A9 II in a heartbeat, or the A9 over that camera. But everyone shoots different things, and only you know what you've got. Either way, Dwayne, you've got an amazing camera with both of those. So they're both incredible. Sorry, I didn't understand what you'd said. We've done that, but what do we need to know? I need to get you guys on my email and phone number. What's the best way? Best way, Dwayne, is to put it into that photography, videography school post. You in there? If you stick it on that post, there's a post, like I said, up the top, which is the timeline or the whole trip, whatever you call it, where everything's listed. So if you wanted to just join that and pop it in there, could be good. Or perhaps Gerald. See, Gerald's organising most of it. Gerald may leave his email in here now, and you can grab that off this now. So that would be fantastic as well. I think Panda's in here as well. He just gave a donation. Panda, thank you so much. Panda just gave me $10. Thank you so much. No. Thank you so much, Panda. Really appreciate it. Good to see you in here. Always watch Panda's stuff. So leave, Gerald, if you're still here, leave your email down below. He said he just sent it today, or PM me on Facebook. If you could leave your email on this if you wanted, Gerald. Where are we? Steve said, are you live or not? Yes, I am live. Canon is about to release new rumored specs. What, for what? The Canon EOS R, the new one? Is that what you're talking about, Carl? Steve's going to bed. Good night, Steve. Guy with the camera said A9 plus 24 GM homemade vlogging. Yeah, it's amazing. Jess said the Samyang lenses have. They have. And this is the thing, Jess, that Samyang also make really good lenses as well. There's nothing wrong with Samyang either, and I shouldn't forget them. It's just that I don't have them personally, but they do make really good glass now. They used to, they didn't used to, for Sony anyway, but they certainly do now. The more modern Samyang lenses now are brilliant. I mean, it's not only that, we have amazing Voigtlander. We have so many different amazing lenses that we can stick on Sony cameras. Not only that, you can adapt. You can put Canon lenses on there and things, which is amazing. Carl said HSS, no, not TL. HSS. Sorry, Carl. Yep, you're right. I've been on the fence with the is that the Samyang 85 1.4 the past 3 months or so as a replacement for the FE85. You'd have to check if you do video go with the cameras. I wouldn't do it because video autofocus is not good. It depends though. If you not doing video, I'd rent it out first or try it, get someone you know and test it before you do that because the FE85 is amazing. Ryan said, looking forward to your visit in LA. Looking forward to meeting you, Ryan. Hopefully you can come to that, our first meetup in the hamburger shop, Michael's hamburger shop. I'm so excited about that. Plus you get to meet Sony reps and the guys from Sammy's camera. Dwayne said, sorry, I sent the A7R back. Yes, I did say that. And see, if you shoot weddings, events and sports, well, you can't go wrong with that, Dwayne, because for wedding events and things like that, the A9 II is a better camera. And I've put a video about that too. I mean, you've stepped up from what I've got the A9 II. Panda, you've given me another. This is for the helicopter rental when we do that Sony Heist soon. I got to get away. I got to get away, Van. I love it. You crack me up, Panda. I wish you could be down in LA so we could meet up. Thanks for the donation, though, mate. Where were we? Yeah, so, Dwayne, you've done the right thing. You do weddings and events and sports. You can't go past what you've got. And that will last you for years to come. Jim said, thanks for your time and great show. Good night from Minnesota. Yeah, everyone's going to bed because it's so late now in New York particularly. Push the thumbs up, please. Thanks, Jim, for saying that. Gerald said, Dwayne, have messaged your comment. Oh, okay. Have the A7R4 and the A9. I can't imagine getting rid of the A7R4 unless you shoot sports, action, events. Yeah, well, he said he did, Gerald. He does weddings and stuff like that, so it makes total sense. Guy with the camera said the A9s are awesome. You'll grow to love it. Thanks so much, Panda, for both of those donations. Elliot said, got the Canon EOS R plus 3 lenses for $19.99. You're right. Dwayne said, Dwayne says, my email is, that's Gerald. Yep, thanks, Gerald. Carl says, Samyang have great rendering. They do. Yep. They just suck a bit for video autofocus, so that's the problem would be for me. Samyang have great rendering, even the cheap 85 1.4. Brad said, just realised I think Y2K fears were 20 years early. Transition from 2019 to 2020 have been wild. Australian fires, China virus, Brexit, etc. I know it's been pretty full on this year. Panda's saying hi. He's also saying, sorry, I'm working right now. Check out Panda's videos. He's put a few out just recently. So he's starting to post again. So that's about it, guys, in the Q&A. So I suppose, look, over the weekend, I'll tell you a couple of things that I'm going to do over the weekend. I'm going to do a video of the unboxing of the Tamron 20mm. So I'll do an unboxing of that just so you guys can sort of see how it looks. And I might even try a quick autofocus and stuff like that to see how it looks. I'll probably expect it still to be a little bit noisy in AF, because they all are. But for the money you pay for those lenses, I've found it doesn't affect performance, but there is a little bit of noise. It's often a clicking sound that you get when it does the autofocus in video and stuff like that, but it doesn't affect performance. They work fine. So I probably will think it's probably going to do that. But if you look overall, they are a brilliant lens. And in fact, the two that I already reviewed, the 24 and the 35, got listed as one of the few lenses that could resolve the A7R4. So they are incredible, sharp resolving lenses. So I'll do an unboxing of that. And then I'm going to do a what's in my camera bag for what I'm taking to the US. So I want to show that to you guys as well. I thought I'll show you everything that I'm taking. And then, we can sort of have a discussion about that. So I thought I'd do that as well. So there's 2 videos I'll post over the weekend. On Monday, I leave. I'm leaving here around lunchtime on Monday. So then it's a 14-hour flight. It's a 14-hour flight, so it is a long one. And like I said, I arrive on LA on the 10th at 9 a.m. in the morning. The first meetup, again, to just say to everyone, is on the 13th, and we're doing it at that hamburger place in LA, which I showed at the beginning of the show. So please, if you do want to meet up there at that hamburger place in LA, I'd love to see you at 4 p.m. or any time after that on the 13th. It would be great to meet up with you all there, and we can also discuss things, and we'll go out and have a shoot, so bring your gear along as well. Apart from that, guys, next probably live video that I post up will be from the US. So I can't wait. Kerry and myself are so excited about meeting as many of you as possible. So thanks so much, everyone. And apart from that, I'll see you all in the next video. So see you on the other side of the pond.